What's up, internet? You guys have asked me repeatedly to go over showers, so here is my shower unit. It's a nice barrel, I know. Now inside this is everything, including a shower tent. Now why is it in a barrel? Well, the reason why it's in a barrel is when we're in the boat, this thing has actually popped out before and I wanted it to float. So here's what it looks like all set up. Now first we're going to start with the tent. The tent is made by Kingcamp. And there's a few problems with these tents, especially this one. The first problem is I have never seen one that is waterproof. Kingcamp is no different. They don't even bother trying to seam seal anything. Now, most people would think that's not a big problem because you're taking a shower in it, so what does it matter? But if you're going to the bathroom and it's raining, not many people like to get rained on. So I have done my best to try to waterproof this with waterproof spray and seam sealing it. You can make it happen, but understand that when you buy these, they just aren't waterproof. They don't even bother trying. The second problem with this tent is it's not made for an instant water heater. There's no way to get the hose in. With this tent, I had to make a cut in it and sew in a zipper to get the shower head inside of the tent. The only one that I know of that is actually set up to do this would be the one from Joolca. Now, if you notice, this is not an instant tent. And the only reason I did that is, as you can see, I hang the water heater from the center post. Most instant tents don't have a center post. And it's really easy to do. You just drill a hole and put a hook on it. And instantly, it'll hold it. Now, you could definitely make this setup smaller by using a collapsible barrel or whatever. But what the barrel does is it gives you multiple use. Number one, it does hold the water. And number two, you could use it as a bear bag. It has 101 uses, it really does. And in the boat, the way that we sometimes go camping, having it able to float is definitely worth it. The pump I use, as some of you know, I originally had a Camplux instant water heater. I had it for about a year and it worked really good until it broke. But I'm using the same water pump from the Camplux and so far it's been working great. And basically there's just a hose that runs into the barrel. Now how I power it is actually pretty easy. I either use a power bank or I use the boat battery that I made. Obviously, any 12 volt will work just fine. Now, normally right here you would see an Ignik 5-pound growler canister for propane. Obviously, you can use any propane tank you want, the 20-pound, and they make the little adapter for the green ones. Now, the reason you don't see the little Ignik canister is because I borrowed it to a friend of mine, and somebody obviously wanted it more than him or I did, and they stole it out of the back of his truck. Most likely they thought it was a cooler, because it kind of looks like a cooler. I always wanted to get the Growler Pro. I guess I have a reason to now. The Growler Pro is a 10-gallon version of the 5-pound. Now, I actually get a lot of questions about Ignik, especially from the emailing list. You guys really want to know about their little fire canister. I know I don't always answer all of your emails. There's over 7,000 of you guys, you got to give me a break. It's kind of funny because I never even thought that anybody would want to know about a portable fireplace. But I have had a few companies reach out wanting to send me one. So maybe I'll give them a call back and see if I can get a few on the channel. But full disclosure, the only product I've ever used from Ignik was their little 5-pound growler and it worked great. I really can't put my name on any other stuff because I've never used it. Now let's move on to the thing that most of you are watching this video for, and that is the portable water heater. For over a year now, I've been using the Gasland portable water heater, and I like the Gasland one because it has a selectable heat switch. If it's colder out, you can use all the burners, and if it's warmer out, you don't need to use all the burners, which saves you on propane. Now, you're going to need 2D batteries for the igniter. You also have a pressure dial and a heat dial. It's been a good unit so far. The only problem I've had is lately, it is having trouble starting. Could be a pressure switch, could be calcium buildup, I don't know. Now obviously there's many companies and choices out there. Before this I owned the Camplux, which worked very well until it broke. There's also Joolca, which has an all-in-one setup. Speaking of an all-in-one setup, Mr. Heater also makes the Boss, which is an all-in-one setup. Now, I've heard a lot of complaints about the Boss. Not saying that anybody's lying about it, but I do have a hard time believing that Mr. Heater usually makes pretty good products. But I've never owned one, so I can't tell you one way or another. Not necessarily a new company in general, but a new company to the United States is a company called Kickass, which has the same selector switch for the burners as the Gasland. Kickass is a big company in the overlanding over in Australia. I don't know if they're any good, but I hope they are because they got a great name. So no matter what you're doing, camping, overlanding, a lot of preparedness guys are getting into these as well. They're really kind of handy to have. There's multiple uses for them. Now, do you need something like this? No, absolutely not. However, if you're out and about, if you're on a trail, if you're in a boat, if you're on the river, if you're somewhere where there's no campground, this is unbelievably handy. It's somewhat big. Obviously, you're not carrying it backpacking, but one of the hardest things that there is when you're out in the middle of nowhere is your mindset. So if you're with your family, this will help your mindset.
Squirrel!
This will definitely help your mindset. They'll be a lot happier. Plus, who doesn't like a hot shower? As always, buy it, don't buy it, doesn't matter to me. And you all have a good one.
I'm your huckleberry.